Hey guys, Jason here for TheChartGuys, taking a look at our coronavirus names. If you're out there trading by yourself and you want to find a home where there's a little bit of pragmatic optimism, where we are talking about being careful, watching our capital, watching for trend changes, and watching for opportunities without bleeding and running around in panic and chaos, TheChartGuys.com. Check it out. Our community is full of people. It has been described pretty recently as the calm in the middle of the storm, where we are watching these markets having historical pullbacks and watching the market drop 7% in a day. And we are addressing it as unbiasedly as possible. We are watching key levels. We are watching to make sure that our capital is being protected, and we're waiting for the eventual opportunity that we believe will come. So we're not losing money on the way down. In fact, we're making a little bit here and there, shorting and looking for quick opportunities and quick scalps. But together as a community, we are holding up very, very well. So if you need a home like that, check out TheChartGuys.com. Long term, I think this is going to be a good investment opportunity for us. The key is going to be watching for that opportunity, being able to recognize it when it manifests, and being able to take advantage of the smaller opportunities that will present themselves as this, what are we going to call this? This cultural happening occurs, because it is a cultural thing. It is affecting the markets, but ultimately it comes down to how we as individuals and as society are reacting culturally to this big monumental event. So that's my pitch. If you need a home for your trading, you need a community, I can't think of a better one than TheChartGuys. So please check it out. Let's take a look at our tickers. APT on the daily time frame. We have a weak candlestick today, and what this is indicative of is a hourly trend change, because we're seeing the momentum shift here. We have lower lows, lower lows, lower lows. We see a green day. Now the momentum behind this candlestick is interesting. So we can see that the bulls had some control. They opened higher. They pushed the price down. The bulls drove the price back up, and then we waffled again. So really it comes down to who currently controls this momentum. On the daily time frame, this would look like a bearish candlestick. We've got a very ever so slight uptrend. We see a hanging man candlestick, because if the bulls are as strong as they should be at this point, they shouldn't be able to drive the price down. We did hold EMA 26, which is nice, but ultimately it's coming down to who currently controls the meandering river that is this price action. On the daily time frame, we have low support at 833, and we've got some resistance on the daily time frame. Depending where you want to look at it, I would look at some right here, 1855. The reason I'm looking at that is exactly the reason that we were just talking about. Here's the momentum. Here's the bears. The bulls pushed as far back as they could, and they only got to 1855. So that is the resistance level that I'm watching for. Right now, I'm just looking for lower lows, something below 1855 for a lower high on the daily time frame. If we go to the 4-hour time frame, there is that change of trend. So we've got that 4-hour downtrend. We've got our higher high. Now we are trying to carve out that higher low, and we've got a double top resistance in the area of 1699. If we go to the hourly time frame, this is that potential shift that we're talking about. Here's the bulls driving the price up. Here we see it's open, we drop, bulls push back, giving us that nice wick on today's candlestick. But anything under 1699 is going to be a lower high, and it's not quite a head and shoulders, but it does fit that same profile. A higher high, and a lower high, signifying an hourly trend change. And if that hourly trend change does continue to the downside, it's going to negate this 4-hour higher low attempt, and we're going to see a resumption of that 4-hour downtrend with a break of 833. So a little bit indecisive. Right now, bears are in control of the hourly time frame. If they can't get a new high over 17 psychological, then it is going to be more bearish long term. And remember, the strength in these names comes from outright fear. And so far, in the last 24 hours, this is the most fearful I've seen, both individual peoples that I encounter day to day, the traders in different communities, and the general sense in the media. So if that fear-mongering and that overall concern can't move APT much higher than it did today, then we should be looking for more downside action. And that's pretty much it. 50-minute time frame for the bears as well. LAKE on the daily time frame, we saw a stronger open, but we saw that resist hold at 18. I don't know why I drew that level there. I haven't looked at these tickers yet, but that is the high of day resistance, 18 psychological. Now, this is a show of strength on the part of the the bulls. They moved the price up. They opened high, pushed all the way to 18 before falling back, and now we are looking for trend changes. So far, we've got this area of resistance that we haven't quite effectively broken over at 18 psychological. So 18 is a high day from the 4th. It is also the high day from today. Double top resistance. If they can't break that, we're going to look for more downside. On the 4-hour time frame, we can see that we did break it after hours. We've given that up and we are trying to change the trend, but in order to do that, we need to really lock in a 4-hour high or low. That would be set at 1475 at this point. Anything over 1338 is going to give us that 4-hour higher low, but we haven't seen any strength to follow that's going to give us confidence we're going to see that move to the upside. Right now, hourly time frame looks like a tightening range, which means our 15-minute time frame really isn't doing anything. We're not seeing any bulls where we should see bulls. And if we see resumption of this bearish pressure and a loss of 1475, then we are going to look for that 1338 test. So key levels for us on LAKE: 18 double top, 1475 hourly. And anything over 1338 will give the 4-hour bulls a little bit of hope. CODX on the daily time frame. Let's take a look at that. Another example of bullish continuation and then bearish fear. Well, I shouldn't say bearish fear. We see the what am I trying to say? We see the bulls move in, and then we see the bears capitalizing on that overextended move by pushing right down really quickly. So we have low of day support because we have a tiny little buying of the, I don't even call it buying of the dip here, but we do see a little bit of bull pressure. Big range between $16.10 and $11.11. So very volatile moves on this stock. So far on the 4-hour time frame, we are looking at a 4-hour trend change. We've got our higher high. Now we need to lock in that higher low, very similar to LAKE. And we see this meandering weakness heading into after hours. We've changed the hourly trend. We are now setting lower highs and lower lows. So if we effectively break 111, and I'm not looking at this quite yet as a solid break of that level because we see that drop and bulls are buying it up. So there's a zone of support there. If we lose that zone of support, then we're looking at continuation to 557, which is that key 4-hour level. VIR in the daily time frame, similar weakness, indecision yesterday, slightly higher open, bears control the day, and not a lot of clarity if we go into any of these time frames. If we go to the 4-hour time frame, we can see that we've got our low, lower low, and then a little bit of choppiness. It's going to look a bit better on the hourly time frame, but not a lot better. Here we can see we have higher highs, higher lows. So as long as we continue that, we will be okay. But we have pretty recent hourly support at 36.56. If we lose that on the 15-minute time frame, then we're going to look for continued downside on the hourly time frame for VIR. NVAX on the daily, weaker than most names. We see a little, well, no actual push by the bulls. Indecision candlestick yesterday, we had a lower open. Bulls made an attempt, but slammed right back down. So momentum is almost completely with the bears at this point. We're in an area of very little support. And our next support on the daily time frame is at 770. If we go to the 4-hour time frame, we can see that we are facing a lot of downside pressure. We're going to be in a 4-hour downtrend. We're in an hourly downtrend and likely a 15-minute downtrend, where we're coming up a testing key support level on the 15, which is going to be $9.09. Lose that, and then we're looking down to 770 for daily support. The only way we can change that right now is if we change the hourly trend, in which case we are going to need a move, ideally in regular trading hours, above 1047. Last one, we're going to look at INO. I remember reading something about some sort of grant being given to them. I don't usually cover them in these videos. I'm not going to tag it, so if you happen to catch this and you're trading it, a little bit of a bonus, I guess. Very similar setup to CODX on the daily time frame, where we've got that gap up, not gap up, we got a higher open and then bearish pressure. So here we see that momentum, we see indecision in today's candlestick, but a higher open, volatility in both directions, but ultimately an indecisive candle. If we go to the 4-hour time frame, we are still trying to establish a 4-hour higher low. This chart has a little bit more clarity than the other charts in the sense that it's not quite as choppy. Anything over 550 is going to be a 4-hour higher low. And we can see that nice tight hourly range. Now we're moving sideways with a big dip after hours. So in order to change this hourly trend, what we need to do is see a concisive, is that a word, concisive? Decisive break over 1023. Anyway, I'm surprised at the overall weakness in these names, despite the increased amount of fear, which makes me wonder if the general fear of investing overall is starting to creep in to these names as well. Something to think about. At this point, I hope you guys are preparing for at least self-isolation. It's likely that's going to hit a lot of different areas. So I'm not going into panic mode or anything, but I am buying a little bit of extra feed for my animals and just making sure that if I need to, I can lock in and be comfortable for a couple weeks here. And that's about it. Well, during that time, we will be continuing to cover these names. And again, if you are feeling like you need a little bit of community, a little bit of guidance, a little bit of help, or just other people to chat with the markets about, check out chartguys.com. If you still need that, but you don't want to join, send me an email, info@chartguys.com, or just comment here. We can chat. And that's it. Have a good day.